Hey guys, welcome back for another episode of The Suited Shootist. If you've ever been to any reputable class, you've probably heard the expression, this isn't the way to do something, it's a way to do something. Generally when this is mentioned, it has to do with hip carry versus appendix carry. Emergency reloads versus tactical reloads, or power stroke versus slide stop versus slingshot, stuff like that. Generally, it has to do with some type of gun handling or some piece of the marksmanship equation. What's interesting though is a lot of those very same people that will take this is a way to do it, not the way to do it, at least in theory, the minute that you start talking about a firearm for carry, for daily carry, something that is going to integrate with your life, that is not necessarily well suited to solving the problem of the active shooter in the mall, some folks will go absolutely insane. They just blow a gasket. And that's something that honestly strikes me as a bit of cognitive dissonance. Because here's the deal. Everybody's context is different. Everybody's math is different. Everybody's risk profile is different. And so if we are truly going to embrace the a way to do something, not the way to do something, then it needs to be consistent. Because absolutely, carrying a fighting-sized handgun with, standard capacity of 10 to 15 plus rounds in something that is large enough to be relatively easy to shoot is optimal. However, it's not necessarily going to be the most appropriate option for everybody's context. And so what I want to avoid is shoehorning these requirements, or rather turning it into, you need to be at least this equipped to ride the ride. Because especially when you're talking to people that are not training junkies, if you are talking to people who are not recreational shooters, and they are a gun owner more than they are a gun carrier, but they are drifting into the realm of self-defense, it is very easy to hopefully unintentionally create these barriers to entry that will then make it to where some folks might just give up altogether. Because I've seen it personally. The attitude of, well, if you're not carrying a modern double stack high capacity pistol with a reload and XYZ, then you don't take your security seriously enough. Fuck you. Like, if that is how you view this, that is completely the wrong message. Because is it optimal? It is 100% optimal. But suggesting that it's mandatory is, at the very least, short-sighted. And I think that, especially when we are talking about new shooters, people who are dipping a toe into a defensive lifestyle, people who bat an eye at buying more than 100 rounds of ammunition at a time, sometimes I think it would benefit us to take some more active steps to actually making the things that we do more normal, and also normalizing the why behind them. Because again, it's something that I've witnessed personally, and I'm ashamed to say it's something that I've done. And I think we can all do better. So there's a huge difference here between the folks who are making a compromise based on their lifestyle, or they are being lazy or have a false grasp of their own capability and somehow are envisioning everything going right in a circumstance where everything has already gone so grotesquely wrong that a firearm has to come into the equation. But there are ways to address it without being elitist about it, without being snobby about it, and without alienating the people that you're talking to. This is a lot easier in person than it is on social media, but it is absolutely possible in both those forums. So I just wanted to kind of shine a little bit of a light on that, because if you're willing to accept a way versus the way when it comes to mechanical techniques, then a way versus the way is going to apply to some level to the gear selection as well. Now, you know, the old adage used to be all 9mm should be Glocks, all guns should be Glocks, all Glocks should be 9mm, and all 9mm Glocks should be Glock 19s. With the wealth of striker-fired guns that now exist on the market, you know, obviously that is less so the case than it was 10 years ago. There's still some merit to the Glock 19 being somebody's first handgun if they're in a position to buy multiple handguns, have $500 worth of disposable income, and, you know, all the other stuff that kind of comes into the equation with it. But if we are going to acknowledge that self-defense is a human right that everybody is entitled to, then that means that regardless if somebody is equipped with a high point or a high power, they still deserve the same consideration in terms of setting them up for success. I've personally witnessed an instructor talking with a student about a suboptimal choice. And at no point during the discussion was there any judgment, was there any condemnation of their current choice. It basically went like this. The conversation was to the effect of, this is how I would configure that setup to optimize it to the best of its abilities. However, given my druthers, these are the changes that I would make and actually switching the gun out. What you want to do is you want to provide people with options. You don't want to limit their options. You want to provide them with options so that that way they can become enthusiastic participants in this lifestyle. So just kind of a thought that I had, and it's something that I wanted to put out there. So let me know what you think. Am I off base here? You know, do you just have to carry the 15 round plus at all times, otherwise you're going to get clapped? Or, you know, is this open to context? Put it in the comments. I want to hear. Aside from that, hope everybody has a fantastic week. Stay dangerous and stay sharp.